Welcome back to the vlog. My name is James, and today we're playing 1-3 Talking Stick Resort. I buy in for $300. Will I win or will I lose? Stay tuned to find out. Jumping right into it, we have King 10 of spades in the big blind. It folds to the button and he raises to $10 and we make the call. Flop comes ace 8 7, all spades. We make a flush. We have the best possible hand. I just check and our opponent decides to make it $11. I call and we're going off to a turn, which comes an offsuit ace. Now this is a very good card for me. If my opponent has an ace, it'd be very tough for my opponent to fold. I check again. He makes it $15 and now I spring the trap. I make it $55. I want him to make the call so the pot can get a lot bigger now so I can put in a sizable bet on the river. Fortunately, it doesn't come to that. He tanks for a little bit and makes the fold. We don't win the massive pot we were hoping to, but we do win the first hand of this session. Hey guys, just taking a quick break from the action just to say thank you for watching the video. If you like what you're watching so far, please don't forget to subscribe, as well as like the video and drop a comment below. Anyways, let's get back to it. Okay, there are 3 limps in front of us and we're sitting in the small blind. We look down at pocket aces. We bump it up to $20 and everyone makes the fold. We want the action, but we just don't get it. Moving on, and we have another big hand. We have ace queen offsuit in the big blind. There's a limp, and one of the early position players makes it $14. It folds around to me, and I decide to make it $45. The limper gets out of the way, and this early position raiser goes all in. I ask for a count, and it's just $99. For only $50 more, I just can't make the fold. I put in the chips, and we're going off to a run out. This run out does not look good for me. I don't connect at all, but it's even worse for our opponent who shows us king 10 of spades, and we win this one with ace high. It's always nice to take one down when I don't even have a pair. For this hand, we're in the cutoff with jack 10 offsuit. It folds to me, and I decide to make it $12. It folds around to the big blind, who's the only caller. We're going heads up to a flop, which comes queen 9-6, 2 diamonds. He checks it over to me, and I make it $15 on my open ender, and he makes a call. We're off to a turn, which comes the ace of diamonds. I now pick up a flush draw on my open ender, so when he checks over to me, I decide to bet big here. I make it $40, and he makes the fold. We get this nice bluff through. Alright, for this hand, there's a straddle under the gun, and the next player makes it $20. We look down at pocket queens. I'm already excited thinking about the monster pot I'm about to take down. I make it $55. It folds all the way back around to the under the gun 1 player, and he makes the call. There's about $400 more in my stack, and we're going heads up to a flop, which comes jack 9-3, 2 spades. Our opponent checks, and I make it $40. In hindsight, I would have liked to seen a much bigger bet, especially without the queen of spades in our hand. I think there are a lot of very bad turns for our hand, and our hand benefits by putting more money in earlier. But anyways, he makes the call, and we're going off to a turn, which comes an offsuit 7. Our opponent checks, and I debate here whether I should be checking or betting. Our opponent in this hand is pretty nitty. I've seen him make some pretty big folds in the past, so as the board gets a little bit more connected, and we still have a good amount behind, I want to be careful building up the pot. Against most players, I'd be pretty comfortable putting in the chips with an overpair on this board, but not against this one, so in the moment I decide to check it back. The river comes about the worst card imaginable. It's the ace of spades. Any flush gets there, and if he was calling us down with ace king, ace queen, or ace jack, he's now way ahead. I decide that I'm going to check it back if he checks to me and just take my showdown value, but it doesn't come to that. He bets exactly half pot, $100. There's not much of a decision here. It's pretty easy to tell that I'm behind, so I make the painful fold. Alright, that last one was a little painful. We just gotta dust our shoulders off and get right back into it because the hands don't stop coming. For this one, we have pocket 7s in the big blind. There are 2 limps, and the cutoff player decides to make it $13. I call, and one of the limpers calls too. We're going 3 ways to a flop, which comes ace 8 7. We flop a set. I check it, and the limper goes all in for about $40. The cutoff player gets out of the way, and I make the super easy call. The run out comes a 6 and a jack, and he shows ace 9. We take this one down. Alright, for this next one, I'm in the hijack with pocket 10s. It folds to me, and I make it $12, and the player on my left calls. We're going heads up to a flop, which comes king 9-3. I decide to check it, and he checks it back. The turn comes an offsuit 7. I decide to go for a little bit of value here. I figure that if he had a king, he'd probably be betting the flop. So I bet $15, and then he folds. I know that wasn't a super big hand, but I wanted to include it anyways, just because That's how poker is most of the time. It's just a lot of small pots and battling over those. But that's not going to be the case for this next one. I have ace king offsuit on the button. The under the gun player makes it 15. Another player calls, and I decide to make it $60. It folds back to the under the gun player, and he's the only caller. We're going heads up to a flop, which comes jack 9-5 rainbow. And almost immediately, my opponent just donk jams into me. Now this is the same opponent that went all in with king 10 pre-flop earlier, so I know that this is probably a very wide range. His all-in is only a pot-sized bet too, so I only have to be good here about a third of the time. So my question is, am I going to be good here that often? Looking back at it, I think he just has a random pair way too often, and I just do not have the right price to call with ace king. I think in the moment, I was a little frustrated, and I put in the call anyways. We go off to a run out, which comes an offsuit 9 and a jack, and then he shows his king jack, and he wins this big one off of us. Yeah, that last hand was a tough one, but hopefully this next one will be different. Oh wait, I pick up the same exact hand, one orbit later, against the same opponent.
Oh yeah, crazy.
That's my opponent speaking. This hand has some interesting conversation, so I'm going to let the rest of the hand play out uncut.
Simon,
Not too much,
Simon.
man. Oh, you're crazy.
What about that much?
Why you feel like that? Like, man, you feel like you are like monster. I like your style. I have a friend in your style.
I'm a fan of your style.
Man, he's like. Alright, heads up. He's like, Mom, you let me alone with this guy? You start raising and then. Good evening.
Simon, 4 a.m. Simon.
Yeah.
Could you stop there?
AJ, 4 a.m.
You trying to show me?
I do.
Yeah, you got it. That's good.
I like that hand.
No, it's a good hand. For this last one, I'm in the low jack with 9-8 of spades. The under the gun player makes it $10. And here, I decide to 3-bet it to $35. This is a low frequency move that I make with suited connectors. And the way I decide when is whether my suited connector has spades or not. This is an important element to add to my poker game. The reason being is because I play against some of the same opponents, and I want to make sure that I am hard to play against by throwing some bluffs in my 3-betting range. Anyways, this bluff gets through, and we decide to rack it up and call it a session shortly after. What's up, guys? Just finished the session. It was a pretty quick one. Usually I would have stayed a little bit longer, but the table was kind of dying down. There was 2 action players, and one of them just busted and left. Just didn't really seem like a good table to stay at anymore, so I ended up racking up and leaving. I was in for 500, out for 297 in about 3 hours, so booked a little bit of a loss, but that's okay. Mostly came down to those premium hands I had that I lost some decent sized pots with. Ace king twice and pocket queens once. That's okay. I don't think I played any of those hands bad at all, actually. I'm pretty content with how I played. I think with the queen's hand, maybe I could have bet the turn. I don't know if a jam would have made sense, but other than that, I'm pretty content with how I played for the whole session. The rest of the session was pretty small ball poker. No really big pots to be won or lost. Feel pretty decent about the session. Sucks to book a loss though. Hey, thanks again if you made it this far. Definitely means a lot to me if you're watching and enjoying my content. And if you did enjoy what you saw, please leave a like on the video. That means a lot to me. It lets me know that the videos I'm putting out are well received. And yeah, until next time.